these years, it's great to see you and Chloe together again. Check out that note. Rachel in the dark room. What is going on?
Oh, nice!
Oh my god!
People are going to obsess over this game.
I don't know what to do.
hard to tell what's going underneath the what's sort of underneath the helmet, where the neck is. The helmet, just pictures I'm seeing. The helmet just comes from the top of the chest, and can't really see anything involving the neck. I know it's there, obviously, but it's hard to see anything. It's got a lot of cylinder, like basic forms on them, especially in this rocket pack, jetpack. I want them to be bigger than this, I think. So I'm going to do that. Bigger. So like at least pretty close up. Even bigger maybe. I'm just looking at my like drawings that I made here for reference. Others pretty quickly done. The thing about this helmet is it does have to have straight lines on it. It's a helmet after all. I'm trying to get these sort of curves right. I never really saw like the appeal of Boba Fett. I guess his armor is kind of cool, but he just dies so stupidly that you could tell that they never really intended him for it to be as popular as he is. And they would have given him a better death scene. And they were just like, oh, this is the bounty hunter. I don't even know if they ever say the name Boba Fett. I guess they do. Han says it. But that's not till Return of the Jedi. I don't think in the Empire Strikes Back even has a name. They just call him the bounty hunter. I don't think they mention his name. I guess the appeal about his armor, you know, there's all these shapes on it. His armor is really nothing but shapes. It's really kind of interesting looking. Like, what is this thing? I don't know. Does it help the helmet stay on its head? Does it help him breathe? No idea. There's no real explanation behind any of these parts that I know of. But they're there, and they're interesting. And this helmet, I always thought his helmet was designed with just sort of this shape, like this arc going upwards. But when I was doing like sort of like studies of them for this drawing, I noticed that that's not just part of the design. The helmet literally goes in space like that and then comes back out and it creates that shape. So it's not just, you know, part of the flare of the helmet, but the helmet is actually sort of in concave in that part. That line doesn't exist, I'm just drawing it to try to get the perspective correct. This is a rough stage where you could do things like that. The visor, it doesn't look, it really honestly doesn't look like anybody would be able to see through that thing. I feel like whoever played Boba Fett in the movie probably had a very hard time seeing. I don't know for sure. I don't think I've ever seen an interview with that actor, but to me that visor looks impossible to see through. Usually even with sunglasses you could see when there's light shining on them. You could see sort of what's behind. That usually is true when there's light shining from behind. So that usually holds true when someone's, you know, wearing sunglasses, and sort of the sunglasses pop out like that, and then the light is behind. You usually sort of see, even if you don't see anything here, this is going to be much lighter. That's sort of what you see. Now there's obviously no light from behind here, so I guess it's true that you wouldn't see anything. It's always a good thing when you flip it and it looks good to you. I think that line is okay. Now this is this downward line, part of the visor thing, is actually straight. It's not curved. I made it kind of curved, but it looks pretty straight. I am looking at a picture of them. I should open more than one picture because you see things from different angles to really give you a better idea of what's going on. I think I'll go with that though. Now, if this indentation actually wraps around, I don't think it does. I think the helmet literally comes down like that, and then it goes inward. Something like that. I don't know how far this visor wraps around his head either. I'm gonna stop it there. Hopefully that's Boba Fett-ish enough. It's not like all these Star Wars drawings, they're not perfectly, I guess, they're pretty close to who they are, I guess, but they're not really accurate mechanically. Darth Vader I can relate. I sort of simplified a lot of his stuff. Other than Darth Vader, I definitely just, you know, copied a picture, a screen cap of him. At least with the shadow, for sure, because that's highly reflective, very difficult to come up with on my own. I'm not that great at that. flip it back, he's going to be facing that way. That's how the villains in my series are facing. And he's got some weird flag or something coming up. I don't know. I don't know what that is. But it's there, so it's going to be drawn. It's a little bit awkward for how high. I think I'm going to lower it a little. Although this is going to go out of frame, that flag won't. These are still just basic shapes, and I'm going to keep them basic shapes until I sort of get everything else in place. The helmet is a little bit more refined at this point, but that's okay. So the jetpack has sort of an inner portion that comes down and encases the rockets, and sort of has some interesting planes on it. Now this might actually go down farther than that. It's probably going to go off the page. It's fine. Everything doesn't need to be there as long as he has what I want him to have, which is the cheese, because Boba Fett is going to have the cheese. Technically, these are so geometrical that it should be like fairly easy to paint it, because everything's just going to be, you know, paint a basic cylinder, paint, you know, a sphere. That's probably also why there's so much Boba Fett out there, Boba Fett artwork, because I think he's probably somewhat easy to like paint. I'm hoping, at least, that I'm not going to run into any crazy challenges, but he seems sort of easy to do. That's the top of this thing. We're going to see this face a bit. Now, I can't draw a straight line for crap, so there's always like some kind of curve. So a lot of those lines are really ugly looking, but what are you going to do? I'm going to put this a little bit farther to the left. Get these planes right, then they'll be easier when the painting comes as well. Now this, you definitely want to make sure it's even on both sides. And it's going to go up like this. It's going to go, I'm going to have it just go behind that thing on his head a little bit. Like that. Just want to make sure it's straight, so I'll take a little step back. And then, you know, of course, it's like a lava lamp, basically, on his back. Should be symmetrical on each side. I mean, technically, I could draw this thing. I could just draw it out and then place it there. Also, it's probably not, well, I'm going to say it's not that big, but I'm going to change the size of it a little bit because I wanted to go off the top of the page. Like this this part right here should technically be like, well, a little bit farther down. Maybe not that far down, but and then it comes up like in another similar style shape. Oop, zoom back in a little. Maybe this one doesn't go so wide. Maybe it's a little bit skinnier. We're not going to see what goes on above it. That's totally fine. I don't know if this thing is attaching to whatever's on the back of his helmet, or if it's attaching to, like, I don't think it's attaching to this though. So I'm going to move this. I think it's like supposed to be over here, attached to something on the side of his helmet there. And this is something else entirely, I think. That's why I'm saying to get multiple references of things from different angles, so you don't have to make that stuff up, which I'm doing. So if it's accurate, I have no idea. I don't need it to be totally accurate. I just want it to look like him. Just clean up a little bit of these lines. Get rid of some of this artifacting and whatnot. The lines are pretty thick. That's alright. I always sort of use like these thick lines when I'm sketching something out, and then I pay for it later. But these things need to make sure they're symmetrical, or at least somewhat symmetrical. Now, should you see the top of this rocket case? As I say, well, rocket pack. I guess the rocket itself is like that and that maybe, and then this is sort of the case. This is a little bit out of perspective, so let me change that. Like that. This is technically that thing. Yeah. Now I keep looking at that thing that's rising. And trying to figure out if it's like perfectly symmetrical or not. I don't like that this stops also at the same point that a visor stops, so I'm going to raise it even more. I'm going to add some part to it that doesn't exist as far as I could tell. And then this is bothering me. So let me try this. I'm going to take it. Nope. I'm going to take it over here. And I'm going to delete half of it. And then all I'm going to do is this. Copy that. And then copy paste it. Then I'm going to transform, flip horizontally. And now I'll definitely have a symmetrical thingy, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to also merge it down, and then we're going to put it back. Over where it belongs. So maybe I put it farther to the right so it sort of goes behind that other stuff a little bit more, like that. So then technically you won't see this bit of it or that bit. And it means this right here is negative space. So I just want to make sure that's going to stand out as such. Okay, now so on to like the very confusing parts, because that part was, for the most part, not confusing. His shoulder is slightly risen here. This arm is risen anyway, a little bit. He's holding a gun up, but I'm going to change that, obviously, to cheese. All these objects should be like in perspective. I'm hoping it just comes out naturally because I'm not making perspective lines. This is a shoulder pad. It's pretty much deltoid shaped. And shoulder pads, well, a lot of times are. And deltoid shape, by deltoid shape I mean, you know, that, that's the shape of the deltoid. So that's a deltoid. There's like little nuts and bolts here and there on his helmet and on his armor, but I might just lightly indicate that. There's like one like right here, and there'll probably be one on the other side, but I don't think you'll be able to see it from the angle that we're at. This is actually going to be visible because it's literally the front face of this visor. And there should be a little bit more, well, as I say, I think it's a little bit too curved on the bottom here. Yeah. Um, so I don't know really like sort of the collar of his chest. I don't know exactly how that's working. I'm just gonna put that shape in there and hopefully that works. Now his chest piece is broken up pretty nicely actually. Um, let me get this angle right, or this arc right. It's fine. His chest piece is sort of broken up in this way. That's pretty nice. Kind of. It's a very in shape individual, but um, his chest piece sort of has this plate that goes on top like this. I guess his neck, sticks out of that or whatever. It wraps around like this, so it's like a vest sort of. And then there's a part that goes over the pecs, and that sort of takes on the shape of them. At least it takes on the shape of like the thoracic arch, which is this part of the rib cage. And then there's this like bottom part that takes on the shape of, well, it sort of takes on the shape of the rectus abdominis. So it's kind of broken up really coolly. It's designed pretty neat. And of course the shoulder pads. I don't know how exactly they stay on. I don't know what they're strapped to or whatever. But I mean that's his armor for the most part. And all this in between is part of the, I think, chest piece. Is just a part that makes sure everything is attached. And then of course there's things under this. Mostly it looks like just like clothes, regular wrinkled clothes. I don't know. That's mostly what's going on though. And then this literally like his sleeves like that. So that's sort of what I'm going to try to get, but obviously from this angle is different. This is not quite the perspective that I want. And this angle should be like this too. Maybe it's like less teardrop shape like the deltoid is, and actually more circular shaped. Could be. It's really like hard to tell these things from one image. Okay. And then this is where that sleeve comes in. Make sure it goes over the bicep. And I don't know that he's all like shredded or anything. If he's got like big biceps, you can't even tell. But I'm sure people will draw him that way. It's just in general more attractive. I don't like that. I'm gonna adjust things a little bit more so they don't intersect. Now, one thing I want to make sure is this top of the helmet is high enough, goes up high enough. Let me flip it here. Because this is obviously going to house his, cranium. So it should be like at least somewhat big. More like that. If his head is in here, it's, oops. It's going to go like, so if his eyes are right there, his head is going to go up a little bit higher. I think that looks alright. Flipping it back then. Just erase that screw by mistake. His colors are like sort of like green. I don't know. I might have to look at like more pictures because the one I have is very like bright, I guess. So I can't really see the colors all that well. There's the edge of his like armor vest, like this part, wrapping around his arm. Now that top plate is going to come like this, and I don't know if, like, it's got a little bit of this curve here. I don't know if that should exist because the way I drew it up here, it's straight. But this one is in perspective. It's supposed to be. So this is going to be the bottom edge of it, like that. And this, you're going to see the side of it as well, because this thing is not a sheet of paper. It's going to have, a thick edge to it. Even this this sort of midline is not in the right spot. Not that I'm, looking at it again. This should really be over here. The middle of his body is actually over there. Why can't I erase right now? There we go. So that's the sleeve, and then what comes out of the sleeve, I guess, is more material. I don't know. Once again, this is kind of difficult to tell. But then his arm is going to be raised. I'm going to have his arm raised. So let's, I guess, finish the this chest piece. Because now we have to draw that part that's sort of over the pecs, and once again, it's going to start, a little bit below where this one starts, and it's really going to follow that same line. And it also is going to have an edge to it. We're not going to see the top part of this because we're at an angle where it's sort of even to us. I mean, we might see a little bit of it, but certainly not as much as the this plane of this top part portion. So those pecs are going to go down quite far. You're not even going to see a lot of this. His arm is going to cover it. Most of it, in fact, to be honest. On this side, you are going to see the bottom half of it because it's actually angled toward us, toward the camera or point of reference. And it needs to be kind of hard line straight, I think. I mean, it is supposed to be some kind of, you know, metal, I assume. So the thing about, you know, metal is it's not usually curved, I guess. I mean, sometimes it is, but usually there's, like, metal is straight edge, you know. So a lot of this I have curved, but I probably want it to be straighter. But like I said, I'm not going to see a lot of this anyway. Then this, and we're going to actually, here's the thing, it's going to stick out a little bit, the next portion of the plate armor. It's going to stick out slightly to show its dimensions. It's going to follow that line. Yeah, kind of like that. Okay, so now let's get this other arm and the other side of his body here. Now the picture I'm looking at actually has this arm in the air like this, and then this arm like this. Now I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is put this arm going downwards and this arm going upwards. So this arm is still going to go up. And I'm going to make it even higher than this. And this is forearm is covered with some kind of, I guess, armor that is very square. So I want to make sure his forearm looks long enough. There's like a little circular thing on his body there. It's hard to tell from this angle as well, because I don't have his full arm in the picture, so it's really hard to get proportion correct in that case. But that's why they always say to, you know, draw a full figure, because proportion, you're gonna relate the size of things to other things, and that's how you get it all right. But this is probably too thick in this area. It is going that way in perspective, so even if just slightly. So I'm going to make that angle a little bit more. It's going to be sort of like that. And this is very square right now. It's not this square, but it is pretty square. Going to be kind of like that. Maybe it's too thin, but I think maybe something like that. And then of course his hand is going to come out of that. And I want that to look somewhat natural. I want it to look natural, obviously, but right now it doesn't really look super natural. I think maybe if I raise the angle of this slightly, yeah. And now his glove, here's his hand. And I'm not going to have him holding a gun, obviously. So what I'm going to have him be holding is, actually he's going to be look like he's holding a gun, I guess. His hands are going to be sort of in a way that, and that hand is way too small. And looking at the small picture, let me fix this. So this hand is going to look like it's shaped around, around the handle of a gun, but it's not going to be. So the angle of the knuckles, is going to be kind of like that. What I'm going to have him holding here is cheese. So I guess what I'm going to do is just have his finger popping out like this. And this is one problem that I usually have. I sort of, a lot of times make one, and then one, and then, but there's 3 joints in a finger, obviously. So what I'm going to do is just make sure that all of those joints are actually represented. Like that. And then, so what's the deal with, how he's holding this? I think I'm going to have his thumb come up to meet his pointer. His thumb is technically on that side, the far side, and then could do that. So I'm hoping that doesn't look too strange. Because this is going to be, Kraft American cheese or something. Oh, it looks like a tissue. Oops. I could probably delete that reference picture. I mean, I could bring his other arm up and then hold it on the other side, sort of like that. But that will look a lot like the Emperor that I did. So I don't know if I want to do that. Because I have the Emperor holding the bread very similarly. And this line I need to make higher. This is technically the back of this plate. And as such, we might see the edge of this thing, but I'm thinking the shoulder pad would certainly be in the way of it, so we wouldn't see it. Okay, so back to this. I don't really like that cheese as of yet. There's going to be a lot more detail on his forearm as well because he's got this crazy thing on his forearms. Let me flip it, make sure everything looks. Want to make sure that hand doesn't look too tucked in. And just make sure it's not not too high. So I guess let me fix this cheese so it actually looks not stupid. The cheese is gonna have a corner. This is just practically a piece of paper. Maybe I'll sort of make it Swiss cheese because it'll look. Or maybe I'll make it a block of cheese rather than a sheet of cheese. When you're just making random holes in objects, you just want to make sure it doesn't look like it's a pattern. So you wouldn't want things symmetrical at all. I guess that kind of looks like it could be cheese. So okay. I think that's okay. That's what I'm going to go with in the case. So then his other shoulder, it's going to be down. So we'll probably see like a little bit of the shoulder pad like that. Maybe even more. And then it would technically, let me make another layer. It would go around like that, maybe not so intensely. And then his arm would probably be sticking out like that. Maybe I'll have it so it's sort of sticking out and holding another piece. So this sleeve, let me just make sure that this is correct first. You should always sort of draw your character naked to start with, and then put clothes on him or her, because that will help you figure out where things are. Maybe I'll have something like this going on. And to match the sleeve on that side, in fact, his bicep is like pretty damn huge. Let's see, shoulder pad might come down to, that spot. Maybe. It's hard to tell. this sleeve ends sort of quite up there. Quite high up. I don't know if I'm going to even go through with this part. I'm just doing it to see how it looks. And just like that arm, this forearm is going to be very squarish. Like that. I don't know about this. I think what we would see here is the back of the shoulder pad, I think. Or the underside of it, maybe. Maybe something like that. Yeah, you can see the bottom of this arm. If he's got like the guns that I'm giving him on this side, probably wouldn't even see the bottom of this. So I'm probably going to leave it out. And that's if I go with this, because I still don't know. Now this hand, what are you going to do with it? Let me erase this line. I don't want it there. So this hand is coming up. Is a hand supinated or is it pronated? These are things I have to think about. By supinated and pronated, I mean this. That's a supinated hand. The palm is facing upward. That's a pronated hand. This is the back of the hand is facing upward. So that's the question I'm going to ask myself how I want this. What's natural, I guess. Let's do this. Also, his thumb is going to be on the inside here, like this. I want to make sure the fingers are not any bigger than the ones that are closer to us. I still have to work out the details of those forearm armor thingies. So if this hand is that big, this hand should be technically a little bit smaller. So that's sort of going to draw a perspective lens. They should fit in those lines. And I'll draw like the cheese second. I mean, I could have had him holding a plate of cheese, or something like that. But I don't know why. Maybe that would be a better option. These fingers, probably we're not going to see a lot of them because the cheese is going to be in the way. Give them like one of those, make them sort of, I don't want to say the word gay, but metrosexual. Because I actually have Darth Vader doing something similar, so it'll be a good way to connect the two, I guess. These are all gloves, so we're not going to see any kind of, they're like pretty thick, in fact. So he's holding, let me maybe decrease the size of that hand a little bit. Just a little bit. I guess it'll be holding more Swiss cheese. Or maybe, you know what? Maybe I'll make them have like a sort of a toothpick with cheese on the end. That might be a good idea. It'll be a little bit different. Sort of like with a little block of cheese thing going on. Like that. And the toothpick, does it stick all the way through? Yeah. It does. Okay, I think that's about right. So I'm trying to get these forearm details in there. In order to do that, probably need to erase a lot of this back chest piece. Now, actually, I'm just going to do this. Really get rid of those. I could probably merge these two layers. It's fine. Make it so it's a little bit more organic. Whereas like the metal on it, the plates on it should be fairly straight. Things like that should definitely be more organic, less straights. So these chest pieces and this glove, in fact, has got like a design, or not the chest pieces, the forearm. He's got some kind of design here on his glove. And then it's going to get sort of black and white in certain areas of this, but I'll probably worry about that when I paint it. But there's going to need to be sort of folds to indicate that those gloves. I don't really necessarily need to draw them. sort of like his hands are sort of like he's playing the flute or something like that. Oh jeez. Ha. My sister just texted me the winter storm. Glad I live in Los Angeles. Okay. So how do these forearm armor pieces look? I'm probably just gonna make some stuff up here. For one, there's different sort of layers to this. So this is a layer, and I think a lot of it follows the muscle of the forearm. And the forearm is just full of confusing muscles. It's one of the, probably, I think, one of the hardest parts of to draw on the body. I just want to make sure it's geometrical, so the planes are very obvious, so that it's easy to paint. So there's just going to be this piece that's sort of on the top, and there's going to be like little rocket thingies, like rocket looking things. I have to do the other forearm as well. This is the outside part of the forearm, and that's going to be the inside part of the forearm. So they're not going to look completely identical by any means. This is a little ledge. I'm going to change the angle of this a little bit so that it gets narrower as it gets to the edge. It'll be more interesting that way. And this thing could probably go farther, this very long top piece. These type of squares should be very in perspective. Hopefully it is. This could actually go probably farther. So make sure that things are not getting a little bit out of whack. So we'll do that. Make sure. Yeah. Okay, that's fine so far. I'm gonna erase this. Vote and I'm not sure what you mean. A lot of this stuff is tapered to follow the tapering of the forearm. A lot of these designs I'm just honestly making up. I'm using the reference, but I'm not making it exactly how it is in the reference either. So I want to make sure this is all good. it's going to come around. This part is going to be sort of going inwards. Let me get rid of that again. Is going to be sort of going inwards because it's the part that doesn't stick out of the forearm armor, and then it's going to stick out again down here. So like if this is sort of the actual forearm part, then everything else is the part that comes out and makes it, I guess, robotic or mechanical. Actually, I don't need that line. What I want is this to stick out a little bit farther as well. That. Okay, so I guess that's kind of funky enough, whatever you want to say. This side is the ulnar side of the forearm, but I'm not sure you're going to see the ulna at all with this thick glove that he's got. His sleeve actually comes out as well, so we'll just indicate that like that. Okay, some of these lines aren't even on here. Okay, I think that's all right for this one. I think maybe this should be stop there, and this should actually go up farther. And then we'll stick little pieces of it out like that. Okay. Now we just want to get that other side, that other forearm, making sense. Now the underside of this isn't really going to have as much craziness, but this sleeve is certainly going to appear here too. And then, so what's going to happen here is the top part, that's really the top part, the same part as this. So we're going to see that slightly differently. I think we're going to see something like that almost. Try to get straight lines in this. Also, how it's actually connected to the arm, I have not a clue. But what I'm going to do is put sort of a belt around his bicep like this. And I'll do something similar here. In this part, the inside of his forearm, I think it's going to have less going on. So, like, technically we could call this the forearm part. And it's slightly foreshortened because it's coming out a little bit at us. This is all his, I guess, bicep. And now this looks like it would be skin, like in my drawing, but it's not going to be skin. I don't think. I could make it skin and change it up, but probably not going to. Um, so I think that's looking okay. So I could get to my mask stage pretty soon here. Also, I could merge these layers now. So now it's all one layer. Clean this a little bit up. Now I'm kind of confused about what's going on again. Just make indications of little things like that. It sort of looks like a t-shirt, but it's not, obviously. I'm probably going to leave these lines in here, even though that's muscle that you're really not going to see underneath. So, yeah, that's all right. Let's fix this a little bit. The underside of this, you're going to see sort of a little bit of that. Once again, it's not paper thin, so there should be an edge to it. Um, Same thing with the helmet and the edges. But I'm probably not going to worry about drawing those. I'll just paint them. This helmet is sticking out a little bit far on that end. Although I guess this helmet is sort of that shaped. Maybe not so much that. It's more like it does get thicker on the bottom. So I just want to make sure that's represented or suggested. And it is. Okay. There's going to be wrinkles here happening. I don't have them really in there, but they're going to be there. I'm still a little bit confused on what this thing is, but it's on his helmet, so I put it in. And let's make the helmet a little bit uneven there. So I think I can make my mask about now. You know what I'm going to do too? Let's do this. Let's make the visor sort of stick out farther. Like that. Yeah. Okay. Let's just get rid of some of these lines and some of this artifacting. I'm just cleaning things up a little. Make there'll probably be like little lines here and there, indicators of gizmos, whatever he's got. I think this finger might be like way too big compared to the one on the closer hand. Maybe that hand will be bigger a little bit, just a little. Oh my god. Yeah, make this slightly bigger, like that. I should have erased that stuff when they were on different layers. That was a opportunity missed. So let's mask this. I'm gonna get rid of that thing. Um, I'm gonna actually increase the brightness and contrast a little bit. Use legacy. Now I'll make my mask. This is line. It will be merged eventually with the painting layers. This is mask. So one thing, I think these lines are like clean enough that I could probably choose everything outside of them. And they are, for the most part. I'll fix the other stuff up. And now he's got this greenish get base color. I'll make it somewhat dark. Probably more green than that. And fill that with that. Oh, I actually want to do an inverse. Fill it like this. Okay. And now I'm gonna get rid of all this crap that's around here. And then we'll remove the lines just to see how it looks. That's fine. I think that's all right. I think his silhouette looks pretty good. Okay. Now just to clean up the lines, I think what we're going to try to do is take this, oops, I don't want to crop it. Take this mask and inverse my selection and then delete everything outside of it. And that should technically clean up these lines pretty good, a little bit at least. Because there's my mask, now there's my lines. Oh, something's wrong. Let's fix this. Okay. So that's about right, I think. Um, and it looks like Boba Fett, even though the silhouette does, so that's good. Alright, let me just do some of this base painting on the mask itself. And take a flat, like a hard brush. And this is going to be the base color for that stuff, the armor. This is, you know, a little bit more yellow, I guess. And it's going to be kind of bright with the way the light's going to hit it. I'm just going to play with the colors right now and see. Also, let me mark that. This is going to be sort of like desaturated blue. Whoa, that's like way too desaturated. Okay. More like that. If I put these on different layers, it'd be easier to shade, but I'm not doing it. The forearm, all his armor is going to be about that same sort of greenish color. The jetpack, you know, that's like pretty metallic. You know, it's going to be a little bit darker, a little bit bluer. Oops. I'm going to do something like this, I think. You know, it's probably not all the same color, but I'm just making the mask base colors right now. We'll darken this up, and make it less saturated, and this almost reddish color. It's going to have some highlights in there eventually. And this is red that goes around this. With this green, what I'm probably going to do is sort of move a little bit toward red. Well, depends on my local color. It's brighter or less bright, I don't know, I can't tell. I'm going to just drop some color in here and see how it looks. It's not, I'm not married to any of it, so I'll have to totally go with my first decisions. Well, I think that looks alright. Gloves are dark. Sleeve is going to be the same color as the shirt and all that crap. Let me lock my lines because I'm afraid of painting on them by mistake. This is a little bit farther in the distance, so what I'm going to do is make this color a little bit more sort of that color. Not quite what I had in mind. Let me see here. And then it changes. Okay. It's alright. We're going to do the same thing here. Gloves are rather dark, but I don't want to get darker than. Gloves are pretty much black, in fact. But we'll go with this. It's not even nearly as black as it could be, I guess. This part, I guess I'm just going to take the color that already exists and use it. We're going to put that here too. We're going to drop it, we will use this color. This is a little bit green. I think that's alright though. Next, this glove, but we're going to lighten it a little bit. Just trying to make it so that it's a little bit farther back. It's going to have less contrast. And then this gray goes here too. What we're going to do is take this green and bring it farther than this color. Let me see here. Okay, so I'll take that green. And then we'll do this as well. And we're going to take this green and actually darken it. Saturate it. Wait, let me get that. Darken it that way. That way, I could sort of have a little bit of depth just with the saturation and values and darkness and stuff like that. Okay, so I think that's looking okay. Let me take this and make it a little bit more yellow, even more so. And that might be too much. Not. Then go a little bit grayer, a little bit redder. And then we have our mask here. Let's move these lines and see what we got. Alright, yep, that's Boba Fett, alright. So one thing I'm going to do is I do want this artifact to look more like it's in the background. Let me see. At least up here, I want it to look like it's receding off. So we'll do the same thing with this thing. And then we're going to make like certain parts of this lighter and certain parts of it darker. And this is just doing it so I can see sort of what it's going to look like later. Because I'm going to be painting all this better. Okay, let's take these lines and just get this mask so it goes where it needs to go. Um, no, basically everything is masked with a good base color. And just screw that up. And put those lines back in. Alright, that's a good start. End it there. Save it as JPEG. Well, first I want to save it actually. regularly. See if I'm also going to save a JPEG so I can look at it later. JPEG Boba Fett. Good. Peace out to the 2 people watching the whole time. Thanks for watching.